You ever notice how pasta sauce jars always look like they were photographed on a Tuscan balcony at golden hour? But then you crack one open at home, and it tastes like someone strained ketchup through a wet paper towel? Yeah. There's a massive gap between the promises these labels make and the reality that actually hits your tongue. Here's the real plot twist. Some of the sauces you think are upscale are barely holding themselves together, while a few unassuming jars on the bottom shelf are quietly delivering genuine restaurant-quality flavor. So today, we're pulling back the lid. We're ranking 8 pasta sauce brands from absolute worst to truly elite. And trust me, some of these placements are going to make people very uncomfortable. And before we dive in, do yourself a favor. Smash that subscribe button, because we're about to save you from some seriously disappointing dinners, and introduce you to a few jars that you'll never look at the same way again. Alright, let's start at the bottom. Number 8. Ragu Old World Style and Traditional. And here's the thing. Ragu is like fast fashion pasta sauce. Looks fine on the shelf, falls apart the second you actually use it. I'm talking watery, thin, and struggling to cling to your pasta like it's afraid of commitment. You boil your noodles, you heat up the sauce, you toss them together, and what happens? The sauce just slides right off and puddles at the bottom of your plate. That's not a sauce, that's red-tinted disappointment. But it gets worse. The sodium levels in ragu commonly hover around 480 milligrams per half cup serving. That's among the highest you'll find in mainstream sauces. And get this, several varieties also pack in added sugars or sweeteners, which means you're not tasting tomatoes. You're tasting salt and sugar trying to pretend they're Italian. The flavor, overly processed, generic. One note. It's like someone described marinara to a robot, and the robot did its best. And the real kicker is what actual buyers are saying. One review I came across summed it up perfectly. Taste like red-tinted salt water. Ouch. But also, accurate. Bottom line, ragu is cheap, yes. But you taste every single corner it cuts. If you're buying this, you're not saving money. You're wasting it on something that makes your pasta worse. And just when you think it can't get any worse, wait until you see number 7. Number 7. Prego Traditional and Original. Now, Prego is like the school cafeteria version of marinara. Nostalgic? Sure. What you want as an adult? Absolutely not. Here's the problem. Prego is noticeably sweet. And I don't mean naturally sweet from good tomatoes, I mean added sugar sweet. Several varieties pack in enough sugar that it starts tasting more like canned tomato soup than actual pasta sauce. And if you're someone who likes a balanced, savory marinara, this is going to throw you off immediately. The sodium's not great either, usually, falling somewhere between 360 and 470 milligrams per serving. Not the worst on this list, but still high enough that you're gonna feel it. And the flavor? It's simple. It's one note. There's no depth, no complexity, no layering of herbs or garlic. It tastes exactly like what it is. Mass-produced sauce designed to appeal to the widest possible audience, which means it ends up appealing to no one who actually cares about flavor. The texture is consistent, I'll give it that. But consistency doesn't matter if what you're consistently delivering is mediocrity. In multiple consumer taste tests, Prego gets described as sweet like canned tomato soup. And that's not a compliment. That's a red flag. Bottom line, Prego is predictable, kid-friendly, and forgettable. If you grew up on it, cool. But as an adult trying to make a decent meal, you can do way better. But number 6 is the sauce that should taste premium, and absolutely doesn't. Number 6. Bertolli Traditional and Organic. Now, Bertolli is interesting because it's like wearing a fancy jacket over pajamas. Looks elevated on the outside, but the quality underneath. Not there. Bertolli uses olive oil. It's got an upscale image. The packaging looks like it belongs in a boutique grocery store. But here's the thing. The flavor does not match the positioning. Not even close. The sodium levels often range from 390 to 510 milligrams per serving, which is right up there with the worst offenders on this list. And reviewers consistently call the taste mild, flat, or, and this one's rough, a little metallic. Metallic. That's not a word you ever want associated with your pasta sauce. And the real kicker is the inconsistency. Some varieties are okay, others taste like they were made in a completely different factory. You never know what you're going to get, which is a problem when you're paying a premium price. Several food media blind tests have listed Bertolli as middle of the pack, despite its higher price point. So you're paying more for a sauce that performs worse than brands that cost half as much. That's not value. That's a ripoff. Bottom line, Bertolli talks a big game but rarely delivers. If you're buying it because the label looks nice, stop. You're paying for marketing, not marinara. If this is already saving you from a bad meal, do me a favor and hit that subscribe button so you don't miss what's next. But number 5 is where things start getting controversial. Number 5, Hunt's Traditional and Garlic and Herb. Now, Hunt's is the value tomato soup of pasta sauces. It's simple, it's honest, but it's way too thin to compete with premium brands. Here's what Hunt's does right. It's tomato forward. You can actually taste the tomatoes, which is more than I can say for some of the sauces we've already covered. And the price point is terrific. If you're on a tight budget, Hunt's is not going to wreck your wallet. But here's what it doesn't do. Deliver complexity. There's no herbal layering, no garlic punch, no depth. It's just tomatoes and not much else. And the texture? Runny. Way runnier than it should be. It's not going to coat your pasta. It's going to slide right off. The sodium is mid-level. Not terrible, not great. It's fine. But fine is not what you're aiming for when you're trying to make a meal you're actually excited about. Reviewers consistently call Hunt's good for the price, but not a standalone sauce. And that's the key phrase. Not a standalone sauce. You're going to need to doctor it up with fresh garlic, herbs, maybe some olive oil, maybe some red pepper flakes. It's a base, not a finished product. Bottom line, Hunt's is not bad, but it's not something you'd serve proudly. It's what you buy when you need sauce and you're watching every dollar. And that's okay. But let's not pretend it's more than what it is. And now, number 4 will shock you. Number 4, Classico tomato and basil. Now, Classico is like the dependable friend who doesn't wow you but never lets you down. It's solid. It's reliable. And for a lot of people, that's enough. Here's what Classico does well. It's herb forward. You get a bright, tomato-centric flavor with actual basil notes that don't taste artificial. And they offer lower calorie options, often between 45 and 70 calories per serving, which is great if you're watching your intake. They've also got a ton of varieties: tomato and basil, roasted garlic, fire-roasted, mushroom, and ripe olive. Whatever you're looking for, Classico probably has a version of it. And it's widely available, which means you can grab it at pretty much any grocery store without hunting. But here's the catch. The texture can be inconsistent. Some jars are chunky and thick, others are runny and watery. You're rolling the dice a little bit every time you buy it. That said, Classico is often rated as a best value pick in supermarket taste tests. It's not going to blow your mind, but it's not going to disappoint you either. It's the sauce you buy when you want something reliable without spending a fortune. Bottom line, Classico is a solid mid-tier option. It's not restaurant quality, but it's better than anything we've talked about so far. If you're looking for a dependable everyday sauce, this is a safe bet. And now we cross the line from never buy to surprisingly solid. Number 3. Newman's Own Tomato and Basil and Marinara. And here's the thing. Newman's Own is the clean-eating, home-cook version of jarred sauce. It's simple, it's honest, and it's surprisingly refined. Let's start with the ingredients. Newman's Own often has no added sugar. Let me repeat that. No added sugar. In a category where most brands are dumping in sweeteners left and right, Newman's Own is just letting the tomatoes do their thing. And they use extra virgin olive oil and clean herbs, which means you're tasting actual food, not a chemistry. Experiment. The flavor is balanced. It's got a mild, natural sweetness that comes from the tomatoes themselves, not from corn syrup. It's not overly acidic, not overly salty, not overly anything. It's just good. Now, it is slightly pricier than budget brands. You're looking at around $5 to $6 for a jar, depending on where you shop. But the ingredient transparency and the no added sugar claims are consistently praised in reviews. People who care about what's in their food love this sauce. And the real kicker is that it tastes closer to homemade than most jarred sauces. If you're the kind of person who usually makes sauce from scratch but you need a shortcut, Newman's Own is the one that won't make you feel like you're compromising. Bottom line, Newman's Own is wholesome, dependable, and genuinely good. It's not trying to be fancy, it's just trying to be honest. And it succeeds. But number 2 takes store-bought elevated to another level. And if you're finding this ranking useful, hit the like button. It really helps the channel cut through the noise. Number 2. Barilla Traditional Marinara. Now, Barilla tastes like the sauce you'd get from a decent trattoria when the chef has the night off. It's balanced, it's chunky, and it's satisfying. Here's what makes Barilla different. The sweetness and acidity are balanced. You're not getting hit over the head with sugar like Prego, and you're not getting that harsh, tinny acidity that some cheap sauces have. It's right in the middle, which is exactly where a good marinara should be. The texture is chunkier than most. You get actual pieces of tomato, which gives it a more homemade feel. And it's got good cling factor. It actually sticks to your pasta instead of sliding off into a puddle. In several blind taste tests, Barilla has been consistently praised for its flavor complexity. It doesn't taste flat. It doesn't taste one note. It tastes like someone put thought into it. And the value? Fantastic. You're getting restaurant-adjacent quality for a mid-tier price. It's usually around $4 to $5 a jar, which is less than Newman's Own and way less than what we're about to talk about next. Barilla is frequently ranked among best supermarket sauces in public taste panels. And I agree with that assessment. This is the sauce I recommend to people who want something better than average but don't want to spend $10 on a jar. Bottom line, Barilla delivers. It's not trying to be the best, it's trying to be great value, and it nails it. But there's one jar that just leaves everything else behind. Number 1. Rao's Homemade Marinara. And here's the thing. Rao's is the chef's kiss in a jar. It's the closest a supermarket sauce gets to sitting down at an actual Italian restaurant. Let's start with the ingredients. Rao's has a clean, short ingredient list. Tomatoes, olive oil, garlic. That's it. No fillers, no additives, no weird preservatives. You could make this at home, if you had the time. But you don't. So Rao's does it for you. The flavor is naturally balanced, it's bright without being acidic, it's savory without being salty, it's layered. You taste the tomatoes, you taste the garlic, you taste the olive oil. It's the kind of flavor profile that makes you wonder if someone's grandmother is secretly making this in batches in the back room. The texture is thick and glossy. It looks like it's been slow simmered for hours. It coats your pasta perfectly. It doesn't break or separate. It just works. And here's the real kicker. Rao's is the consistent number 1 in multiple national blind taste tests. The Washington Post, Bon Appetit, Cook's Illustrated. Pretty much every major food publication that's done a sauce ranking has put Rao's at the top. This isn't hype. This is consensus. Now, let's talk about the elephant in the room. Price. Rao's is expensive. You're looking at anywhere from $8 to $12 a jar, depending on where you shop and whether it's on sale. That's 2 to 3 times the price of most sauces on this list. But here's the thing. It's worth it. If you care about flavor, if you care about ingredients, if you care about your pasta tasting like something you'd actually order at a restaurant, Rouse is worth every penny. Bottom line, Rouse is expensive, yes, but it's the best jarred sauce you can buy. Period. And there it is. 8 pasta sauce brands. From the ones you should avoid at all costs to the jars that can legitimately pass for restaurant quality. At the bottom of the pile, you've got sauces like Ragu and Prego, jars that rely heavily on sweetness, sodium, and nostalgia, but fall apart when you actually taste them. And right in the middle sit brands like Hunt's, Classico, and Bertolli. Not terrible, but not great, and definitely not worth the premium if you're chasing authentic flavor. Then we step into the winner's circle. Newman's Own brings clean ingredients and honest flavor. Barilla delivers surprising depth and balance. And Rouse, well, that's the jar that reminds you a store-bought sauce can actually taste like someone's Italian grandma made it. Here's the takeaway. Don't trust the front label. Don't trust the photo. Trust what the sauce actually delivers. Price doesn't equal flavor. Marketing doesn't equal quality. And the best pasta sauce is the one that respects your pasta, your time, and your taste buds. Let me know in the comments which pasta sauce brand on this list surprised you the most. And if you want to make smarter fast food choices, subscribe and hit the bell. I'll see you in the next one.